Oh, I see it.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Suzanne. So we're gonna start the film symposium, and if you can get to a laptop, that'd be better because we're gonna show you some films that the students made. So let's get this thing started. So this was a tough year, so we're trying to figure out how we were gonna do this presentation, and we came up with an idea that we'll leave up to the students see how much they can produce on their own with just some small a short some short classes. So they have to plan, they have to do most of the stuff on their own, organize, and then they have to keep track of what they did. So the basic idea was like one group was going to make a video solely using the phone, and the second group was going to use a video using DaVinci Resolve, and then they were going to shoot like a behind the scene or some small tutorial about it. So this is what happened, and they can discuss all the problems they had, all the issues they had. They're going to try to show you. They're going to try to show you. They're going to show you all the films and all the materials they created. Okay. So the first part we're going to do is, let me get my schedule real quick. Okay. Let's go with Isaac, and let's go with Ashley and Jeremy, and I'm gonna give you a link to the tutorial. So let me do this. Okay. So the first one is BTS. This is behind the scene. It was made by Jeremy. This one was submitted to the arts for this month. They just want to see what we were doing. So if you can click on the link below, mute your screen. And when it's about a minute long, I'll be back in a minute. And then we'll discuss it. The link is in the dialog box for anybody who's okay. So I'm assuming everybody watched it. Correct? Thumbs up? Okay. So any comments about that tutorial? I mean, about that behind the scene editing, any comments that you guys want to make? No? Okay. Let's take out the, so the next one is a tutorial on LumaFusion. LumaFusion is a, it's a app to make professional video on the phone and on the Android and the iPhone. So Ashley made this video. It's about 3 minutes long. Mute your screen and click on the link, the LumaFusion tutorial. When you're finished, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. This is Ashley's video, so I want her to talk about it first. So go ahead, Ashley. Oh yeah, first tell them what your project is, then tell them what we're supposed to do, and then tell them what ended up happening. Okay. So and then analyze that at the end too. Okay. Go ahead.
What are you supposed to do?
Tell them what the project's supposed to be when I assign it to you, and tell them what happened, and then tell them why it happened, and then tell them like analyze and figure out how you could resolve those kinds of problems for next time. Okay. And just tell them what happened in the 4 weeks.
So the film was supposed to be a short film, about 6 minutes or less. Jeremy and I ended up deciding that we wanted to make an educational film on domestic violence. And we were thinking it would be maybe 4 minutes long. We wanted it to be an educational film informing those in a domestic violence relationship how to get out, answer some common questions, and let those that aren't in a domestic violence relationship, we wanted to give them a perspective of what it's like to be in a domestic violence relationship. The first week we did the class with Mr. Chai, we learned a little bit more about film working. And then the second week, Jeremy and I started discussing what we would do for a script. We wrote quite a bit down. We got about 5 pages of research on domestic violence, statistics, and things like that. I contacted some police officers that I work with on the Explorers, and they agreed to do a interview with us so we could get some information from actual police officers, get their insight on domestic violence and what domestic violence victims should do. Unfortunately, the police officers were too busy, so we weren't able to do that. So we ended up having to scrap that idea for making the domestic violence film. We were going to go ahead and continue with it, but I ended up having to go to my grandmother's for a week, almost 2 weeks, due to heart surgery. I had to watch over her for a little bit. So I think where we went wrong was we didn't schedule things. We didn't set assignments. We didn't have really good communication, and I wasn't able to work on it myself. And it was basically just up to ourselves as to what we were going to do. We didn't discuss what we should have done, and I think that's what we should have done. We should have set a schedule and discussed things before we just went ahead and did something. I think that's really it. I think next time we'll set a schedule. We'll talk about assignments and things like that.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that? I just asked Ashley what happened in the group, why the film couldn't be completed, what changes you were made differently.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about planning schedule, definitely big thing of it. I think she definitely got that right.
Okay. How would at the beginning, did you guys seem to work well together in terms of like collaborating your ideas, in terms of collaboration and bring both ideas together?
As far as the topic?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I pretty much didn't help with that. Okay. I tried to think of things, but I didn't like my ideas, and I didn't bring them to the table.
That's
and so
that's the one thing about the brainstorming session. Like, you have to create a space where almost all ideas are accepted, just to hear it out, right? Even though you might think it's a bad idea, you just have to come out and just say it, okay? So next time, bring the idea out. It really doesn't matter, okay? Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say, I agree with you on that.
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much, that's pretty good.
Okay. How about the little behind the scene thing you've done? Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we go on to the next video?
Well, I made it in a day.
Okay.
And because we didn't actually have a video like yet, I mean, we never ended up with a video, but because I didn't have a video yet, I didn't actually have much footage to go off of, so I kind of just had to shoot myself in like my hand and stuff, and then yeah.
Okay. And at the end, you add a little bit the typing special effects, and where did you do that on?
I did that in Premiere Pro.
Okay, and that was just computer. Okay, and that was just a mask that you did, and then you just put in a sound effect, or?
Oh, well, what I did is I found a sound effect for typing on the internet, and then I made text, and I made a ton of different text layers, one for each, yeah, basically for each letter, and then I basically just went through frame by frame and looked at exactly when each keystroke was on the sound, and then I just lined up when that specific letter lined up.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about your videos? Like Ashley, do you want to say something about your video?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The actual film though, I ended up finishing it. The only problem was my phone crashed on me just as I finished it. I stayed up until 2:30 in the morning working on it because we ran out of time. We were really counting on the police officer interview. Like you said, we should have came up with a plan B, and we didn't. So I ended up finishing the video, and I had one last thing I needed to edit. So the next day I went to edit it again, but my phone crashed on me and I lost everything.
Okay. Okay. This next video is it's Jeremy and Mac's video.
Me and Mac?
No, 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 not Jeremy. What's it?
Isaac.
Isaac and Mac. Okay. 5 minutes long. Click on the link, mute yourself. I'll be back. Okay, let me know when you're done. Is everybody done? Okay.
I am.
Okay. Isaac, Mac, tell us a little bit about your video. What inspired it, how it happened, and then analyze and talk about what you were supposed to do. and then tell us how and then tell us what happened, and then tell us how you would fix it.
Can I take over for a sec, Isaac?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I really feel that we can't talk about this movie without talking about what could have been. When we started out the story, we had a completely different idea of where we wanted to go. We wanted to focus in depth on abuse. We wanted to focus on drug abuse. We wanted to make it a story of that dealing with animal abuse. We wanted to make it a bittersweet, but hopefully optimistic story about overcoming abuse and how people in the world, especially people close to you, tend to overlook said abuse. Unfortunately, unforeseen circumstances forced one of our co-workers to take a leave of absence. And I understand why she did, but it made things difficult. So we decided to make this film to play on quarantine. And I believe this is where Isaac should take over because he did most of the work in planning for our second film.
Okay, I have a PowerPoint if you want me to use that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah. Did I not allow you to share your screen? Can you share your screen now?
Says host disabled participant screen sharing.
How do I? Is it on is on Google Drive?
No. I made it on PowerPoint this time. Since I bought it, I was like, oh, I guess I might as well use PowerPoint now.
I did this last time. Does anybody remember how to allow me to share this? How to allow music?
I don't need it, but I didn't.
You can either make him host or co-host, and then he'll have the ability to.
Yeah, I think you have the power to do that, Shay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Isaac, go ahead, share the screen.
Okay. PowerPoint. All right. Are you guys able to see all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So brainstorming, we started off pretty well, the three of us, and we started off in our entire group, so 5 of us, and we put all our ideas into one Google Doc, and we mainly put in ideas that are modern topics, such as like the pandemic, drug abuse, and wildfires, climate change, that kind of stuff. And when we split off into our two groups, me and my team members and I did pretty well at meeting for the first couple weeks. When we weren't meeting twice a week with the entire group, the three of us talked for about an hour, at least once those first 2 weeks. So not every day, but still good enough to get all our ideas down and talk more. Yes, we should have talked more though. So for the script, we got a pretty good script going for the first week and a half, and it was pretty much finished by then. But like the day before we were supposed to start shooting is when our other team member left, and she was also our actor, so she was the most important part. And Mac and I tried to find someone to fill in her spot, but to no avail. And so we just decided to create a new script. And that took another week and a half. So now we're already behind almost 2 weeks. Here's some shots from behind the scenes. And by this time, communication went down like a lot. And so it was kind of hard to figure out what we really wanted. So I decided to, take control of it for the most part, since I had the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to shoot in my room, and as well as Lincoln Park.
So, yeah, about that time, I started having other obligations because I was just starting university. So it was kind of hard to keep up contact and commitment. So that lack of commitment, lack of communication is totally on me.
Yeah, and we could have both done better. And overall, our team just had kind of like this this lack of urgency when it came to get everything done. We kind of just felt like, it wasn't said, but it was definitely perceived that it'll get done, but
yeah, but it was kind of like in our back pocket.
Right. And so on the editing, we were supposed to use DaVinci Resolve this time, and I didn't look at it at all before going to Mac's house and starting to edit. And there's pictures of us at Mac's house editing. And we ended up using Premiere Pro, because when we started editing with DaVinci, we had no clue what we were doing at all. And for sake of time, we asked Chai, and he gave us some mercy, and so we were able to use Premiere. So tying into communication was just our conflicting visions of how we saw the script and then how we pictured it in our minds. So that's just like, I think something that was caused mainly from having to do this remotely. When we were able to meet, I think 3 times a week last year, we were able to articulate our ideas a lot better and get on the same page. So Mr. Chai wanted us to give a little history lesson about the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, so can I speak for like a minute? So this was my last lecture to them before they started to film on their own, and I wanted just to give them an overview what the Dunning-Kruger effect was. This would be good for you and Kathleen and Suzanne. It's actually a good lecture. Isaac's gonna talk about it, and then we can watch a short film, and then we're gonna I'll finish off with the analyzing the Dunning-Kruger effect. Good, Isaac.
Okay. So Dunning and Kruger are 2 psychologists who study this case of MacArthur Wheeler, who in 1995 to two banks in Pittsburgh and robbed them. He didn't have a master plan, no disguise, no getaway vehicle or getaway chase. And later he was shocked to find police at his front door, and he was then arrested. And his famous quote is, "But I wore the juice," because lemon juice is pretty much the active ingredient for invisible ink. Because when you put lemon juice on paper and then put it against a heat source, maybe like a light bulb or just a flame, the words will appear after the lemon juice has dried. So he just figured, oh yeah, that'll work. And so pretty much the Dunning-Kruger effect says that people with less experience on a topic tend to have an overestimated sense of confidence in that knowledge of that topic. So this guy was like, oh yeah, I know the secret of invisible ink. Time to go invisible. And so we had the pretty much same thing happen to us in doing the film. And this happens, in everyone's life eventually. But, for me, especially, was with the editing software. I was just like, okay, it's just an editing software. It's gonna should just be like anything else that I've dealt with, but very, very wrong. Our whole team, just like I said earlier, just felt like it was going to be, a little bit easier than we actually, ran into. Yeah, I feel like we should have definitely spent more time on just like creating more ideas. I noticed when I was shooting, me and my actor, my friend, came up with a lot of ideas on the spot, but which is fine and cool, but it's also nice to have those ideas at the beginning as well.
Okay. Everybody, I gave you the link for the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's about 9 minutes long. Can we watch that one more time? Click on the link, and then Isaac will come back and talk, and then I'll finish it up with some charts. Hey, Isaac, can you make me the host again? And then
yes.
So mute and click on that link for the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'll be back in about. And everybody rewatch that. It's a good video. All right. When you're done, just let me know. Okay. Is everybody done?
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone want to say something about the Dunning-Kruger effect before I finish it off? Do you want to reflect on how the Dunning-Kruger effect? Anyone want to say anything about it before I give my little spiel? No? Ashley, Mac, do you want to say something about it?
So I'm not sure if my analogy works, but just so I understand it, the Dunning-Kruger effect would be if someone who's made like 10 grilled cheese sandwiches in their life assumes they're an expert at making them.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no questions. And I just want to clarify through
Yeah.
examples. I know it's not one-to-one, but it's
Jeremy? Anything on it?
We kind of just fell right into it.
That's right. Everybody fell into the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay. So I made this my last lecture of the class of the 3 weeks class for a reason, because like even when I was young, I fell into the same effect. And when you're in the Dunning-Kruger effect, you don't realize you're in it, right? I mean, I can like even when people tell you that you're in the effect, you just don't realize it because you just don't have enough knowledge to know it, right? So part of it is you just have to have faith in other professionals to help you out. But let me show you my screen. Let me do a quick share screen real quick. Then I'll finish it off. Okay, can you guys see the chart? Yeah. Okay. So the part of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which everybody knows about, is this first part right here, right? And that's the part where almost everybody falls into, where we pick up some little information and we overestimate our ability. We think we can do something that we're not prepared for, and it's just something that happens. The other part of the Dunning-Kruger effect that we have to be aware of is over here. This is where experts and teachers tend to underestimate their ability, and the reason they do that is because they've done it so long and they think it's simple, so they think everybody knows it. That's why like professional people aren't good teachers, because they just assume that it's so simple that everybody should just know this. See how much higher this person thinks he or she knows more than the professional, right? So these are the two areas where most people learn and focus on the Dunning-Kruger effect. But I want you to focus on the slope that goes down, the slope right here. Now this is an important slope because not too many people talk about that, but it's where people just quit on things. So once you think you know it all, and then when people start correcting you or give you feedback, people tend to quit at these points along this point. And that's where I want to tell you, that's not when you it's just a part of it. When your confidence starts going low, at some point, if you keep sticking to a subject matter and your knowledge increase, your confidence will go back up. But at this point, I see like people who would study music, study dance, study like all different types of subjects. They usually quit at some point right here, and they never experience like what it means to be a professional, right? Right. So part of this Dunning-Kruger effect that you should be aware of is like, one, don't think you know everything and listen to that expert. Two, when you realize how little you know, don't lose your confidence, okay? You might lose a contest here or so. You might not get placed like in the top 10 or anything like that, but it doesn't matter, right? If you keep sticking to the subject matter, sooner or later, your experience and your confidence will go back up, right? And then you'll know a little bit more about the subject. But so I just want to tell you to be aware of this slope, right? To just don't quit on a subject matter just because you think it's too hard, okay? And it was funny because when I I was teaching the class. I saw it coming. I knew they were going to fall into the Dunning-Kruger effect. I gave them hints on it. I gave them a presentation on it. I told them that they should look at the software. And the thing is, like, there's nothing I could do, or there's nothing anyone could do to tell you until you experience it for yourself, and then you can point it out to them. So that was the whole point of that whole lecture on the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, so that's the end of the session. Kathleen and Kathleen and Suzanne, do you want to ask some questions or make some comments about their films? No? Kathleen and Suzanne, are you guys there? Do you have any comments, or do you want to ask the kids any questions? Do they, are they still around? Okay. Okay, let's see if they don't have any questions. Do you guys have any feedback on how the class went, how we can improve it for next year? Be brutally honest with this. Ashley, any feedback on this?
I'd say like last year, you set a schedule for us. So I think if you discussed with every single member in the film club, right, and set a schedule, and then if you told them to assign certain roles and set a schedule for them, I think that would help quite a bit.
Okay. Okay. Mac, how can we improve the program? It's an online program.
Sorry, could you raise your voice? My volume is not very good.
Yeah. How could we, any criticism or comments about the program, how could we improve it for next year if we have to do it online again? Do you want a minute to think about it?
Here's something. I'm not sure if the others mentioned this, but okay. Last year, when we were going through the motions, I'm not sure if this is a class-specific thing, but last year when we were preparing for our films, before we actually started doing the filming, we spent a statistically significant amount of time going through the software we were going to use to make sure we understood it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this time we were just thrown into the deep end, and maybe that's an expectations thing, like you expect us to be able to figure this stuff out on our own, and we probably should, but it feels like it was something that was kind of different.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the whole point of the project. You have to figure it out on your own.
Okay, so I wasn't, all right, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isaac. Okay. Isaac, criticism, comments.
Yeah, and I definitely understood, like, that was the point, but yeah, I definitely agree with Mac there.
A little more guidance.
Yeah, just, yeah, more practice, guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to give too much criticism because this is the first of its kind, like the first you know, online film.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was longer, I know that might not have worked. Like if the film camp would spread out more, and we were able to have that practice. But I'd say overall it was pretty informative time. Like each meeting, I learned something new or learned something more of something that was just expanded my knowledge. Yeah, I can't really think of much else.
Okay, Jeremy? Honest criticism.
I don't know. It was pretty good overall. Some of the stuff, like learning how like light diffused. I mean, we didn't really use light too much, so I don't see why we needed to learn that. But it was still interesting and fun stuff. You know, I just, you know, not exactly using it.
Okay. Like in criticism, any stuff that you would improve on Like any comments that?
Probably not.
No. So the lecture was fine, right? Everybody was.
I have something I could add.
Go ahead.
So just maybe with like the equipment, if we could have got like one of those small, really bright lights included in the equipment, that
Oh
could
yeah.
be helpful. Yeah, I had to use this like really nice grow lamp, which was really helpful. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Ashley, anything to add to this?
Nope.
All right. So no question from Kathleen and Suzanne? No? Okay. So I think Mac and Ashley and Isaac recorded this, so I'm gonna ask them, see if we can just
I want to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
See, all those comments all centered around, just a film camp that was like half of what it was last year. And that was the case. It was half the time, half the equipment. But we picked people that we thought were like next stage of growth, that were, really climbing into being intermediate filmmakers. So, and I really think we scored there, and that was obvious with the videos that you produced. And Ashley, you have a real presence now. Your speaking ability is incredible. So you may be an actress someday. I don't know, as well as a filmmaker. So, good luck to all of you, and we certainly hope that next summer there will be a 2-month film camp.
This is Suzanne in the Dunning-Kruger fight. Okay. Kathleen, would you like to say anything?
Well, I was really impressed with all the films. Isaac, it was wonderful to get to see one of your creative films again. As soon as I saw this storyline, I was like, oh, he's working again. The filming was really good. I took a film class myself a few months ago, and Chai's heard my story. I thought my film was pretty good, and I entered in a contest, and I lost. And I just lost all hope and didn't want to make any film for months. And finally, I had a friend, and I felt safe and made her a film. And then I had some other friends, and one of my friends was just diagnosed with cancer, and I made her a film. And so what I learned from that was that there are all sorts of people that need our films, and whether it's our friends or whether it's in the leadership positions that I'm sure the 4 of you are going to end up in as you move on in your lives. The filmmaking skills that you show now are just going to keep on developing, and you can use them in leadership, you can use them for personal, or you can use them to become a filmmaker like Chai. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to get to see another film of Isaac's, and to see you developing, and just keep on doing it, keep on working at it.
Thanks a lot, Kathleen. Okay, so this is a wrap. We'll so people can leave now, and Isaac, Mac, and Ashley, you guys have a recording of this. If you guys want to get together and just one of you guys put it together, so for our last documentary, and then I'll just put it with the file we have, okay? And then I'll post everything on the website. So if anybody's interested in, there's a lecture, there's all the stuff we've learned, and it's on our website.